All right, Rick, there were 7 rookie quarterbacks that started in week 9, the most in a week this early in the season since 1970. Sweet mercy. There were 9 rookie quarterbacks started a game this season, already tying a single season NFL record. CJ Stroud, our guy, had more passing touchdowns in week 9. He had 5 against 0 interceptions than all the other rookies combined who had 4. So let's start with old CJ there. 30 of 42, 470 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. He continues to play some elite level football. And I know you like hyperbole and crowning guys before they've done anything, but I will just ask you this. Has there been a better start to an NFL rookie quarterback season than what we've seen from CJ?
No, I think he is on track. And then, the last 3 weeks, people were starting to say, hey, our defense is starting to catch up with him and then all of a sudden the loss in Carolina last week. And then what he did against I thought was a very good Tampa Bay defense. And he could have threw for over 500 yards because he did miss some throws and some open receivers. And there were a few drops as well. So, but this guy, his accuracy, his command of the offense, his ability to handle pressure situations in the game to take him down on that last drive, everything you want in a franchise quarterback going forward to see the CJ seems to have. So whatever that S2 score was that dinged him for being so low, I hope every quarterback scores as low as he does on that score. That means you're going to be a franchise quarterback.
That means you're going to be a franchise quarterback. So, right, that last drive, we'll talk about it more with Tank Dell because Tank Dell was involved in that. He threw a corner route, I think 25, 30 yards down the field. Tank Dell got both feet in bounds. The very next play was that little skinny post that he threw into the end zone. That was a 15-yarder for a touchdown. He made so many great throws, either off platform, out of structure, under pressure, or on time, right on the receiver's face. He and Dalton Schultz continue to get better in terms of their relationship. And just quickly, some rookie numbers, quarterbacks who we thought were incredibly impressive at the time, and now compared to CJ, you're like, it was okay. Justin Herbert, his rookie season, he threw 31 touchdowns against 10 interceptions, completed 67% of his throws. That was a really good season. Baker, of course, had 27 touchdowns his rookie season, but against 14 interceptions. Peyton had 26 touchdowns and 28 interceptions in that team that won 3 football games when he came out in 98. Russ had a good start to his career, 26 and 10. Andrew Luck, we saw the graphic there. Debo just had it up. He had 23 and 18. That team won 11 games, Andrew Luck's rookie season. So there's a lot of reasons to think that CJ is just playing at another level. And again, we've talked about it before. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good because all indications were the Texans were going to take Bryce if he had been there. And CJ, they weren't necessarily as high on. And they took CJ rightly. And as you said countless times, you can't come out of this draft like a quarterback. You have 2 first-round picks. They took the right one, and he has been absolutely balling out. So A+ for CJ. If you want to give a grade, I don't think we had to do that, but I'm guessing you're going to give, even you who doesn't give pluses or minuses, will give him an A+.
No, an A.
Just an A. All right. Texans fans.
If he wouldn't have missed a couple of those throws, I would have gave him an A.
Both deep throws. Just they're probably a yard overthrown, I think. But, man, woo-wee. All right. Now we got to go to the other side of the conversation. The first overall pick, Bryce Young, 24-39, 173 yards, touchdown, 3 interceptions, 2 of which were pick sixes. He did rush 5 times for 41 yards. Went back and watched the throws, and I felt a little better. He still throws with anticipation. I think part of the thing is, to borrow a phrase from Sam Darnold, it feels like at times he's seeing ghosts. Like he'll leave the pocket a little early if his first read isn't there because he's so used to getting hit upside the head. I get it. I don't know how you make him feel better about that. And you've talked about before, because you know Bryce, like he's mentally incredibly tough, and hopefully this won't phase him. But he threw the pick six. The second pick six was just an overthrow and a screen pass. The first pick six was, I think that was another option route. It was sort of a Jeremiah Trotter Jr. situation. It felt like Kenny Moore jumped that route, and he was under pressure, got off his first read, came back and threw it to Chuba, I believe, or Miles, one of the running backs. And it was a good play by Chris Moore, and you would prefer him not just throw that ball. Third interception was an underthrow on a seam route to the tight end late in the game.
Yeah, he is taking his lumps, boy. The thing that it's like I said, he played poorly. I'm not making excuses for him. But I watch all these rookie quarterbacks since we had to do 9 of them for the podcast today. Um, and I see these teams using motions. I see these other teams using RPOs. I see these other teams doing boots and play actions to get them outside the pocket. And I see Bryce Young. I think I watched another clip this morning. I went back and watched 19 clips. Only twice did they use motion. Everything is like every defense he's playing against, they're just squatting on the routes. No one's getting separation. They don't use RPOs. They just have him be a pocket passer. They don't get him rarely outside the pocket. I don't see any play action. So I don't know if he was in a different scheme with the play action, the boots, everything we're seeing these other quarterbacks doing, would it be a different result? I'm not going to make excuses for him because he didn't play very good. In fact, it was awful watching, to be honest with you. And even the one throw to the outside to his right went 22 miles over the guy's head on a little out route.
Yeah.
But it's like, is this offense giving him a chance to show his positives or the things that he can do well? And right now they just have him taking shotgun snaps, no play action, no RPOs on this game, at least that I studied, and just sitting in the pocket and then trying to throw spacing routes underneath.
Yeah, no, that's a good point because a lot of the times, and look, I don't pay attention to this stuff unless I see it a lot. I don't have the trained eye of a Rick Spielman, for example, but I notice more times than it actually registers in my subconscious. They love running all stick more than any team in the league, just anecdotally. Run to the sticks and turn around. And again, to your point, that's a static route. If you're playing man, all you got to do is stand there, and the guys are
playing
covered.
zone. Don't worry about dropping deep. They're all going to run little hitches. The inside guys, the outside guys. Now, I did throw a nice on the little corner route. I think it was the DJ Chark. I can't that he threw a nice ball to. But they don't give this kid a chance and don't have him sit there and go through 22 progressions because one, he doesn't have time to do that.
Right.
The way they're protecting. So create some play action, create, some runs and then boot off of that. But they never get him outside the pocket. Everything is static inside the pocket.
Yeah.
And is that giving him the best chance to have success?
Well, I know you love hypotheticals, so that leads me to this. And before you kill the messenger, this was Debo's idea. So you can shoot a rubber band at him 3,000 miles away. If Bryce was on the Texans and CJ was on the Panthers, are we having different conversations?
I think it would be a different narrative, but I'm not going to take away what CJ has accomplished because it's special and unique what we're watching. Bryce, would he be more productive? Because you see CJ run play actions. You see CJ get outside the pocket on some boot passes. You see him step up in the pocket. But it seems like even when I watch Bagent from the Bears, they do things to move these young quarterbacks around and to give them a chance. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself. We'll talk about some of these other guys. But you have a smaller quarterback that you're asking him to be a pocket passer. And I don't think that's what truly his top skill set is, even though he can throw from the pocket.
The thing with CJ, who's playing the highest level of football, and someone mentioned this, I think Lance Zierlein mentioned this, and he's the draft guy for NFL Network, and he does radio in Houston, and his dad was a longtime NFL offensive line coach. But he said that if we had seen more Georgia-Ohio State game, the one that CJ sort of changed everyone's opinion on, if that had been perhaps more prevalent in CJ's resume of college games, maybe we would feel differently about where his draft stock would have been, because we all had questions like, is that the CJ we're going to see going forward? Turns out it is. We just didn't see it prior to that. That aside, I think Bobby Slowick, the first-year offensive coordinator, is giving CJ answers to the test, as you like to call it, because rarely does CJ look confused. And part of that's because he's so smart, but also because he understands that if this isn't here, this is here. And the second option rarely seems difficult, whereas the second option for Bryce seems incredibly difficult.
Because they're limiting the options. They don't have to sit there and go through give me 3 seconds in a pocket so I can get through 42 reads or go through 42 different progressions. And by the time Bryce tries to get through his progressions, he's getting hit in the mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. And he looks a little gun shy. And I don't know if he would deny that in a personal moment. So hopefully it gets better. Hope ain't a plan, as I like to say, but it has not been pretty. And that's just the reality of it. And there are a lot of reasons for it. And the owner there isn't very patient. So we'll see what that all means. But I don't know. Go watch Bobby Sloak and CJ and just do what they do. That would be my advice. All right, let's talk about another young quarterback. Made a second start, Will Levis, 22 or 39 on Thursday night, 260 yards, interception. That loss to the Steelers. Again, not giving your quarterback the best opportunity to succeed. That said, the physical tools remain pretty impressive. Like, he can throw the ball flat-footed. It feels like 60 yards. Down the stretch, he started forcing some balls, but they were down and trying to make plays, whatever that happens. There were he had some turnover-worthy throws earlier in the second half in which it looked like he was going to throw that pass no matter what. And, maybe that's a learning moment / growing moment, but he did a lot to keep that team in the game, and you could argue they should have won that game.
Yeah, and it was different because the previous game, they just took their shots down the field. This is where some of his struggles came. They tried to make him play quarterback in the pocket and get through progressions. Now, that 2-minute drill or right before the half, he made some incredible throws down the seam on a 7 route or a little corner route, showing his arm talent. There's no question about the kid's arm talent. But then in the fourth quarter, when they were driving down to throw that interception, and they're in the game still, that was a poor decision. But I think with Will, why it was maybe a step back was because they tried to have him do more from the pocket as far as progression and reads than they did in the previous game when, DeAndre Hopkins is double moving and triple moving everybody. It looked like DeAndre Hopkins from 5 years ago. This was not maybe the same game plan. I understand you don't have the same game plan, and you're playing against Pittsburgh Steelers, who have a very good defense, but they also had Micah Fitzpatrick out. So why don't you try to expose some of those safeties that they have on the back end?
Yeah, and he was under pressure, immense pressure all night, Will Levis. I think he was pressured on something like half the dropbacks, which was among the highest in week 9. The other thing is that you wonder if the play calling was trying to protect him. Like, that final play, the interception was basically 4 verticals, and people were whinging about that after. Or maybe there was some other thing you could have done, but whatever. Before we get going too far here, give me a grade for Will Levis and then a grade for Bryce. I forgot to do that.
I gotta give Bryce a D, and I gotta give I'm giving Will Levis a C.
Okay. I don't like to get below a C- because that's just, I feel bad. But I think Bryce and that offense and the whole offensive side of the ball probably deserves a D. I'll give Will a B. I'll give him a B, not a B-.
All right.
I think he's hope. He gives that team hope offensively, which is
it does, and that's worth an extra grade.
Hope is not a plan, Rick, even though I keep saying that.